We weren't really supposed to have brands say yes to us. It was the last ditch effort. We tried looking around for other jobs and other means of traveling and funding our trips. And there was just nothing that we could do where we could do what we want during the day and then edit something during the night and wake up the next morning and do the same thing all over again.
Hi, and welcome to the Your Story Studios podcast, a podcast where we talk about all things content creation. And today on the show, I'm joined by a man who needs absolutely no introduction. But for people who may not know who you are you and what are you doing here?
Hey, so my name is Matthew Hardy-Brown. I'm a travel photographer and videographer. I've recently picked up a lot of directing work and I've started working on bigger sets and commercials, but for the main part and at my core, a photographer.
Great. All right. Well, Matt, tell me, how did you get into this creative journey that you're on?
I started out at, I think I must have been like maybe 16, 15, whatever it was, when I got my first real camera. Before that, it was just running around chasing people with GoPros. I started out with a very, very old Canon 1200D, I think it was. I got it for my birthday, and as soon as I used it for the first time, I fell in love with everything DSLR, everything kind of creating, everything photography. And I had that camera attached to my hip. I would follow people doing crazy stunts. I'd make little videos. I'd make little galleries for myself to look back on of family events or anything that I found interesting. One day I was shooting some of my friends on mountain bikes, and I was shooting some of my family doing mountain biking as well. And I saw these guys doing downhill mountain biking, and I fell in love with the speed of that, and I fell in love with shooting people going fast. And over the time that kind of developed into my other passions, being surfing and traveling. From there, we only wanted to take photos and only wanted to travel and only wanted to see the world and do it with my camera. Photography it was, and I just haven't looked back since.
So you've started with photography, but you've now moved into video. Talk me through that process.
As much as I started seeing more of the world, I wanted to kind of capture it. I know people say like a picture's worth 1,000 words, but for me personally, there were some moments that I just wanted to record for myself. So I started recording little personal memories and stuff like that. And again, I started to fall in love with the craft of it all. I loved kind of making it and whittling down a video, like you're carving something out of a piece of wood. And each of these stories that I was kind of making, I again started falling more and more in love with making videos. That developed into being something that I could make a living off of. And from there on after, I just loved creating pieces for everybody. I know like now it's kind of changed a little bit, and I'm pivoting to making videos again just for myself. The video journey has been insane. It's been something that's incredibly rewarding, and it's been something that has been an amazing opportunity, and it's given me so many insane memories and a lot of friendships. I think the creative community is one that is like no other. I think when you're with the right people, you're able to really bounce off of each other, and you connect so much I would actually say on a deeper level, because there aren't many other industries that you can come and do something like this with somebody and just make something awesome and unique straight away. So it's something that I love, and it's something that I want to do forever.
Yeah, and it can be very rewarding as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So how did you find yourself getting into making videos and also doing photography and making it an actual business that you could live off?
It started for me like the first time I started charging clients, and the first time I actually reached out to clients, I was doing a road trip around Australia, and I was with one of my good mates, and we had probably about $40 combined. We were struggling, and that $40 was going straight to fuel. We were young kids kind of just doing what we could with what we had. We had the bright idea to start reaching out to brands and just saying like, hey, could you pay us or whatever it may be? We'll promote your product. We're in these insane locations, and for a brand to actually have to hire somebody, fly them out and do the shoot there, it costs so much. So as these bright-minded young kids, we figured, why don't we just start charging brands like while we're there around the world? And to our luck, brands started saying yes. And initially we were actually a bit shocked. We didn't think that anybody would actually be, keen to have us on board and start paying for our services at the time. But over time, it's kind of built trust between brands and been able to, travel a lot and create some amazing pieces. Hopefully the brands that we work with are still stoked to this day. But that's kind of how it started for me. I know it's different for everybody else, but for me, it wasn't necessarily go to university, get the degree, and start working at an agency. We learnt kind of on the back end of YouTube and Instagram and different tutorials here and there. I worked on some sets after getting back from this trip with a couple production companies, and I realized that if you wanted to kind of make this a full-time thing, you needed to up your game. I just assisted on a lot of different sets around Melbourne and around the world. And from there, I saw, okay, the next thing is take it up a level and start building out a team and attack like that. From there, like that's kind of how it's led me to being here today. I love working with the team. I love working in a group. Video production for me will always be around a group and around a team.
Yeah, video production, I say all the time, is the ultimate team sport. Because it's a bit of a game as well, and you need other people as well. You can do it by yourself, but I think if you want to go somewhere fast, you go by yourself. But if you want to go far, you bring other people with you.
100%.
When you first reached out to those brands, how much experience did you have? Did you have like a show reel to show them, or did you just basically cold DM them and say, hey, we're in this cool spot, want to pay us?
Pretty much, yeah. At the time, I didn't even have a website. I was just posting on Instagram. And this was a few years ago now. I was just posting on Instagram and I thought that's all you needed. So obviously brands initially, they were hesitant and we weren't getting massive brands by any means. It was more so kind of smaller kind of scale e-com brands and other people that, had maybe about $100, $200 for a video to burn. And at that time, even getting paid $10 for a video, we were stoked. We managed to get like kind of some funding from clients, and we figured, okay, we could actually do this and we could travel for just 1 week longer, or we could go for, just a couple of days more. And, with that kind of, it rocketed and boosted our excitement to stay traveling and keep doing this thing that we were now making money from. Over time, you had to kind of develop with a team and with a group of more experienced people. You can't just keep guessing and keep thinking that the only way to do it is by the way that was first successful for you. The most important thing with video and with production and with photography and honestly with anything creative is knowing when it's time to pivot and knowing when it's time to adapt with the times and knowing when it's time to stop. And I think knowing the best time to stop and knowing when the best time is to pivot, we kind of stopped doing that and we pivoted to focusing on actually creating Instagram reels. And our clients didn't necessarily want photos anymore. They were leaning towards these reels that we were making. It was giving them more engagement. It was giving them more kind of value out of us. We figured, why don't we try and do the reels for ourselves as well? And we were able to make a bit of an audience online, and it's been a no-brainer for us ever since.
Yeah, and when you were first reaching out to these brands, how many followers did you have on Instagram?
I would have had under 10,000 easy. It was something that like we weren't really supposed to have brands say yes to us. It was the last ditch effort. We tried looking around for other jobs and other means of traveling and funding our trips, and there was just nothing that we could do where we could, do what we want during the day and then edit something during the night and wake up the next morning and do the same thing all over again, other than video and content for brands. So it's something that we kind of figured would be the only solution for us to keep traveling and keep doing what we're doing. And it's something that paid off. And it's kind of led to where we are now today. So I can't really put it down too much. It wasn't necessarily beautiful at the start, and it was very kind of backwards the way that we did it. But yeah, it's led us here today. It's kind of kickstarted my journey as a creative altogether. And yeah, I've loved every other minute of it since.
Yeah, great. You mentioned that you started with photography and now you're doing more video today. Do you have a preference? Which one do you like more?
For me personally, like I will always love taking a photo. I think it's so special where, you're in the surf or you're somewhere incredible and you get that one photo and you can look back at it and hold that so true to you. You're the only one that knew from that perspective what came 1 second before and what came 1 second after. I think with the video, it's kind of different because you're capturing this whole thing and you're trying to make people feel like they're there. With a photo, for me, I'm just trying to show people what it would have been like to be there. For that reason, I think I'd have to say photo.
Okay, well now let's move to what would a typical week look like for you, Matt?
That varies a lot. It depends if I'm traveling. It depends if we've got a shoot on. It depends if I'm, in an edit. The next few weeks for me is actually looking quite insane. Got a few projects coming up, but a typical day-to-day, typical week for me would consist of a few days shooting and a few days editing. What a lot of videographers and cinematographers and directors and editors know is that the edit is probably 80-90% of your day when you're in project, when you're deep in these kind of shoots and productions. So for me, it does vary. If we've got a production underway, the next few weeks could consist of an edit and being stuck in a dark room, color grading or anything like that. But yeah, the next few weeks for me will consist of heading over to America to film a very exciting project there, and a lot more travel after that.
Can you share some details on this very exciting project?
I was chatting with a friend and my phone was ringing and rang maybe about 4 or 5 times, and I figured something may have been wrong. And I left and I got in the car and I started driving back to my place, and I gave him a call and he said to me, he's like, do you have a week or two free at the end of the month? And he lives in America, and I said to him, I was like, well, are you coming to Australia? I mean, of course I can make time for you and I'll show you around here. It'd be super cool. And he's like, oh, okay, well, hypothetically, I wasn't coming to Australia. You were coming to America. Could you still make time for me then? And I was like, yes. And he's like, done. We're booking you a flight. You're coming out to film this project for us. Are you in? Initially, I was kind of just like sitting there thinking, what are you talking about? And he told me more about this project, and it's something that I actually wanted to film when I was in America this last time. The whole thing is part of an event called the Speed Project, and it's where a group of participants, a group of athletes decide that they are going to run from the Venice Beach Pier to the Strip in Las Vegas as fast as they can. There's no real spectators for this. There's no rules or anything like that. But these guys are trying to do it in like under 40 hours. And after hearing kind of why they're doing it as well, I fell in love with the project, and I could see a bigger piece being a documentary being shot. And I said to the guys, I was like, look, I'll happily come over and film you if I can also make it as part of a documentary. I'm currently making a series of docs that I'm going to be sharing at the end of the year or early 2026 as part of this new venture that I'm kind of using as my North Star, being Be Nice projects. And it's where we'll make a documentary about unique people, interesting stories, something with character, something with heart, and something that I'm incredibly passionate about. Yeah, this is the first one with all the profits of the film and all the profits of the event that we managed to raise funds for. I'm going to underprivileged kids and them getting access to sporting equipment. The next few that we do will also have their own respective charities, and I'm really looking forward to kind of letting my experience as a travel videographer or cinematographer or content creator in any respect kind of do a lot more good and kind of bring a lot more into the world than constantly just taking. I think it's something that we're incredibly gifted, where we're able to share stories and we're able to share with the world all these amazing photos and places and everything like that. But I don't agree with only sharing the good. I want to share the bad. I want to share the hard times. I want to share everything else that isn't in my niche. From that, it's kind of turned into making these passion projects, and it's turned into creating these little documentaries. I'm really looking forward to this trip. It's going to be a very hard shoot, but it should be fun.
Yeah, so they're projects with a purpose.
Exactly. That's the whole thing. I mean, like we're trying to stay true to ourselves throughout it all. I've always wanted to make pieces that matter. Like the only reason that I started making videos were like to make videos for myself. And I think over time you kind of stray away from that and you start to just focus on client projects. It pays the bills. You start to focus on making videos for others. Selfishly, I much prefer making videos for myself. And while these videos are meant for other people to kind of watch and be involved in, it is also about kind of healing a part inside of me where I've always wanted to share bigger pieces and pieces that are bigger than me. But these pieces are also for me. It's something that I'm incredibly passionate about. It's something that I want to grow with and kind of shift into having that be my new full-time role and kind of focus on that. So I'm looking forward to it. We've got about 40 hours of intense running through the desert and some of the most insane conditions. I mean, you've been on that trip and you know just how heavy it can be.
Yeah, you're going through a lot of desert.
Yeah, Yeah. Deserts, we're running next to like road trains and there's wild animals, snakes everywhere. So I hope that's not foreshadowing of what's to come, but
You're in Australia.
yeah.
We've got snakes and spiders. You'll be right.
Exactly. So I'm thinking, yeah, it's definitely the way that I see myself to keep moving forward in the video industry is making these passion projects and making pieces that will live on longer and continue to give back to each respective cause that we film for.
Yeah, great. So your role for this project in the States, you're going to be shooting it and editing it. How are you going to be capturing it?
I'll be shooting this piece, and then I've got some extra hands there as well. So some of my friends there will also be helping me shoot and capture it.
Building that team, flying them over.
Exactly.
Yep.
So they're flying me out, and then the guys already living in LA that we've kind of built out this team for, and they're like a team of creative Avengers, I'll say. We're really going all in with this, and while we're coming in with more of like an underdog approach and very, very last minute, I'd say, we're going to put together something amazing. I'm really excited to see the end product. I'll shoot it with our group, and then in the edit, I've got my friend here that we have started this production kind of project together. He and I will work through the edit again collaboratively, and we'll create this piece to share from that. So we're looking forward to also screening in person. I think that there's something so different about seeing something, sitting on the couch watching it on your phone versus going into a theater and seeing it up on a big screen, or going to a film premiere and watching it there around, all of your closest friends or your other creative companions, and being able to watch and experience it together is almost like reliving that entire moment.
Yeah, and you get real-time feedback as well. So if something's funny, you'll hear the crowd laugh. If something's touching, you'll maybe hear someone cry or whatever.
Yeah.
You're not just watching or looking at YouTube analytics and looking at comments and seeing all of the trolls or
exactly. And
people.
I think, again, it's so rewarding when on Instagram or on YouTube or whatever, when you get 1,000 views or 800 views or 50 views, whatever it is, you think it's a loss immediately. But seeing 1,000 people in a room, I don't even think you can comprehend how many, faces that is. Like, I don't think I know 1,000 people. So actually seeing, 100, 200 people in a room watching something that we've put our hard-earned like time and effort into is also, it's just something I'm so grateful for. We did it last year with an exhibition that I ran. It was my first exhibition, kind of based out of experiences and travels in Tahiti. Again, I brought together a group of Australian creatives, and they premiered some films, and I shared my prints from the exhibition, and we had a sold-out crowd. We had a whole bunch of people come by. We had to separate it over 2 nights so we could get everybody in.
That's a good problem to have.
It was a problem that I didn't think we would have. I'll be totally honest. I put out kind of this initial thought to a lot of my friends where I said, I'm thinking of hosting a gallery. And a lot of them said, okay, yeah, I'll be there. And I didn't know if anybody else was going to come other than them and their partners, or them and another friend. And when I started seeing people sign up and get tickets, and when I started seeing people on the day walk through and just walk in off the street, I was mind blown. It was really, really cool to meet other people that had also been following me on Instagram for a while. And first time I met some of them was at the gallery. It was really rewarding to see that online community in person. And it's something that's motivated me a lot to take this next step with Be Nice, is seeing the people that these films have affected and how we can actually help them moving forward. One of the films that we're going to be making in Australia is with one of the people that attended my gallery. We're going to be raising some money for dementia research and elderly mental health programs. So it's something that's incredibly close to my heart. Again, that's the selfish reasoning behind this for me, is like, I want to make pieces that make a difference. It's stories that I find interesting, unique, and valuable to everybody else around me. I think it's so important to just not put out sob story pieces. And it's really important to not just put out documentaries that don't mean anything. I think there's so many videos that are put out every single day that just don't carry any meaning to it. And I want to make these pieces that would actually inspire another person to pick up a camera and do the same thing.
Yeah, great. Well, hopefully this podcast today inspires people.
Yeah, well, this is unique for me. I'm never normally in front of the camera, so I'm a little bit nervous, I won't lie. But
You're doing great.
yeah, there you go. There you
And
go.
looking forward into the future, where do you want to see your creative journey go?
I want to keep doing kind of what I'm doing in kind of some truth to that. I really want to shift into helping more people. And I think the best way for me to do that would be through Be Nice and through this new project journey. I don't see myself working on big sets and working for clients and working on kind of those things in the future, to be totally honest. I want to be in the field. I want to be exploring, traveling, and, really in the thick of it. I want to be a lot more hands-on with the director approach of my work as well. So I really do see myself in the next 5-10 years working with a really amazing team and working on really amazing projects that can hopefully make a change in the world.
Right. When you're using the camera and you're directing, how are you able to do that? Do you find yourself thinking, I wish I was just using the camera, or I wish I was just directing?
I think it's also trusting the people that you work with. So the teams that I'll bring in, they're all my best friends. We're all really good friends, and we know
Work well together, because sometimes
Yeah.
like people do suggest don't work with your friends or family, because if something goes wrong. But so far everything's good with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, like we're able to talk freely with each other as well. So when things do go wrong, we can just kind of say it how it is. It's something that I do feel incredibly gifted for. I've heard don't work with your friends, but for me, it's always been more of a focus on the end product rather than what we're shooting for on that day, or being like way too specific about it and getting annoyed with somebody on set. These projects that I'm working on, when I'm working with these teams, I'll always bring on people that are better than me. I feel like that also kind of takes a lot of stress off my end. So if I'm shooting, I'd get a better director, or if I'm directing, I'll get somebody that's a whole lot more talented than me to shoot. Especially here in Melbourne, there's so many really, really amazing creatives and really talented videographers and directors, and really awesome people to work with. And a lot of people understand like that collaborative effect of, if everybody's doing their thing, we'll make something amazing at the end of the day. I do like to prep a team a lot beforehand, before the shoot. For this one in America, for example, we've had maybe about like 10 or 15 calls already that are all spanning like an hour in length,
These are all billable hours.
Well, no, because yeah, these are more passion projects. So yeah, these ones, it's entirely out of kind of my kind of attention to detail, I'll say, where I want to just make sure that everything is kind of as perfect as it can be and as planned as it can be. I mean, and that's the thing though, like for these documentary shoots, like I know that everything can just go wrong at the last minute, and then that can turn into the story. So that's also something that you can't plan for. You can't really be too specific about. What I am specific about is the team that I hire and the people I hire. I want to make sure that they're the best people for when it goes wrong, and when it inevitably goes wrong, that they're able to pivot with me, and we can just, just throw ideas across each other, decide and attack. The best thing and the best way for me to kind of direct and shoot and work with people is just hiring people that are better than me and working with a team that I love working with.
Great. And so you've shot and you've directed this project, and now you've come back and you're editing the project. Do you like editing?
I love editing. Honestly, it's kind of a hard choice for me between directing and editing. I could spend forever just editing a project. It's something that I really do love, seeing kind of the behind the scenes and everything that's happened after I've shot a project. I think it's so important for people who also direct projects or shoot projects to edit their own work and just really, really sink your teeth into an edit and take your time. When it comes to editing the content as well, I like to let my videos breathe a bit. So before actually, unless it's a client shoot, but before I go and I start editing like any of my personal videos, I'll actually watch all the videos that I've made maybe about like 5-6 times over and just let it sit for about a week and let the content breathe. And then I'll come back and I'll attack it on a day whenever I hear a song or whenever I see something, or
when inspiration strikes.
Essentially, yeah. And then I'll attack it from there. And 9 times out of 10, like when I start an edit, I actually have to, pull myself away from the desk to stop, because you get so caught up in it. And I feel like it's really important, again, to know when to stop and to know when like it's time to just like just let it sit, because you can edit through the night and come look at your project the next morning and it's
With fresh eyes and go, oh, what was I thinking last night?
this song choice or these colors or whatever it may be. I'm excited to see, like, we've got full creative freedom with these documentaries, and I'm really looking forward to seeing kind of our strengths come through, you know, from that initial travel, outdoor adventure, kind of, it's like a full circle moment for me. We're on the road again and we're making content for something that is, again, a lot bigger than us. So it's exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Matt, to finish off today's episode, have you got any words of wisdom for the audience?
It's just so important to stay true to your creativity and to stay true to your passions. It's a very confusing world. It's a very different approach that a lot of people take to their videos and to their creative pursuits, but it's so important to stay unique and to stay true to your passions and creativities and whatever started your journey initially. Just don't get lost in the numbers and don't get caught up in any of the online comments.
Awesome. Great advice. Well, Matt, thank you for joining us today on the Your Story Studios podcast.
Cheers. Thank you.